Haha, yep, we back again, my political detox family. Whoo, look here, Jamie Raskin's at it again, folks. And this time, he has my blood boiling, y'all. How can he and the rest of them Dems concoct this BS lawyer trickery with straight face? It's obvious, they desperate. Are they serious? I'ma show the game for what it's worth. And if this don't get your blood boiling after I detoxify this cheap shot sideshow of the Democrats running interference by trying to get the whole country to believe they did this to protect us when the story is the complete, and I mean the complete opposite. But hold on now. Before we dive into the deep end of this pool, we gotta slow it down for a second. To be completely fair to the room, we gotta lay out both sides of this coin. I ain't here to just give you a one-sided spin. I want to show you exactly what both camps are bringing to the table so y'all can be the ultimate judge at the finish line. See, the man holding the gavel, the MC of this whole circus, is the House Judiciary Chairman, Congressman Jim Jordan. He kicks off this hearing, bluntly titled The Southern Poverty Law Center, Manufacturing Hate, with a completely different angle than what Raskin is selling. Jim Jordan stands up there alongside heavy hitters like Texas Congressman Chip Roy and Louisiana's Mike Johnson, and they say this ain't about civil rights at all. It's about an organization that has spent years artificially blowing up the threat of domestic extremism just to milk their donors for millions.
An individual who led the Nationalist Socialist Party, a faction of the Aryan nations, reached out to SPLC. He wanted out. He wanted help in leaving this racist group. And what did the SPLC do? They said, no, stay in the group. We'll pay you a monthly salary. We'll reimburse you for hosting rallies, purchasing racist materials. Of course, that was field source number 30. How about F37, field source 37? This person is the one who coordinated transportation and attended the 2017 rally in Charlottesville. The Southern Poverty Law Center paid him $300,000 to the guy who helped put together the event where a young lady was killed. F27, he was paid $350,000. What'd he do? He ran the Aryan Nations Motorcycle Club. F43, president of some crazy group, was previously convicted of cross-burning, but the SPLC thought he was worth $19,000 of their donors' money. Again, all told, $4 million to manufacture hate. We said this last hearing. I still remember Rahm Emanuel saying, talking about Democrats, never let a crisis go to waste. The SPLC took it a step further. They created the crisis. They manufactured the crisis, and by so doing, they became the standard, the source for determining who is a hate group.
Jordan's argument is that the SPLC turned themselves into a highly profitable partisan hit squad, using their hate map to blackball anyone who disagrees with their political agenda, from regular parents to religious freedom groups. On the flip side, right across the aisle, you got the ranking member, Congressman Jamie Raskin from Maryland, backed up by New York's Jerry Nadler. Raskin's whole defense is that this entire federal fraud prosecution out of Alabama is nothing but a weaponized, politically motivated sham. He claims the Trump administration's Department of Justice is deliberately targeting the SPLC to roll back civil rights protections and silence the people who track real hate groups. Raskin even points out that not a single SPLC donor has actually stepped forward to complain about being defrauded. So there it is, y'all. The battle lines are drawn plain as day. Jim Jordan says it's a multi-million-dollar money-making scheme that manufactures hate for profit. Jamie Raskin says it's a lawless federal assault designed to crush a historic civil rights watchdog. Now that the playing field is level and you know who's who, let's peel back the layers and look at how they run in this game. They're using a deep psychological hustle called the 4 F's. That's fear, fabrication, funding, and falsehoods. I'm gonna break down the F's for y'all right now so you can track this hustle step by step. First, they drop the fear by calling regular folks extremists. Second, they run the fabrication by making up a fake hate map out of thin air. Third, that fake hate map secures the corporate funding. And fourth, they use that cast to spread pure falsehoods. You got these high-level politicians, these professional storytellers on the left, like Jamie Raskin, sitting up in a congressional hearing room concocting fairy tales to cover up a federal grand jury heavy indictment. They up there playing a game of pure manipulation, trying to turn a certified multi-million-dollar business loop into a Sunday school charity drive. It is absolute garbage, y'all. Roll the tape. Let's look at the first move.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Welcome to our witnesses. Created in 1971 and headquartered in Montgomery, Alabama. Created in 1971, headquartered in Montgomery, Alabama. The Southern Poverty Law Center is one of America's leading civil rights groups. It fights for voting rights throughout the South, economic justice, and criminal justice reform. Like every major civil rights group in our history, it's been subjected to serious white supremacist violence. Its leaders have been threatened and attacked since its founding, and SPLC headquarters were firebombed in 1983 by members of the Ku Klux Klan who were convicted of conspiracy in federal court. After this attack and escalating racial terror, the SPLC added to its work a focus on the Klan and neo-Nazi groups and other purveyors of hate, violence, and white supremacy. In 1988, the SPLC litigated against the Southern whites of the Ku Klux Klan, the Southern white knights of the Ku Klux Klan, and drove them into bankruptcy, winning $1 million damages verdict on behalf of more than 50 peaceful civil rights marchers in Forsyth County, Georgia, who had been savagely attacked and injured by the Klan. In 2019, it brought a $14 million judgment and won it against the neo-Nazi founder of the Daily Stormer for orchestrating an anti-Semitic troll storm harassment campaign consisting of more than 700 death threats and vile abuse against a Jewish woman and her family. The SPLC has defended the rights of anyone and everyone targeted for hate, violence, oppression, and murder. Today, it's under attack by the Trump administration and MAGA.
Did y'all catch that slick maneuver, or should we just call it for what it is? Manure. Yep, you heard me correctly. Pure manure, folks. Notice the rhythm? He don't want to look at the paper trail. He don't want to talk about the 11 counts of wire fraud, false statements, and the conspiracy to commit money laundering handed down in Montgomery, Alabama. Nah, this man gets on the microphone and starts bringing up the 1965 Voting Rights Act. Are you kidding me? I thought he was gonna grow an afro on the spot, y'all. He starts talking about cases from 2019 and the Daily Stormer like he reading a history book to a bunch of toddlers. He literally tries to use the blood of our ancestors, the actual civil rights movement, as a legal screen to mask a slick money play. It is cynical as hell. He using that first F, that fear, and using historical trauma to run defense for an organization that the feds say spent over $4 million to cook up the exact hate they claim to be fighting. It's like a doctor giving you the flu just so he can charge your insurance for the cough syrup. Whoa. But wait, look how deep the distraction goes. Because while Jim Jordan is trying to look at the actual wire transfers, Raskin and the rest of the left-wing faction start throwing President Trump's name into the mix out of nowhere. They start trying to point fingers at MAGA, screaming that anyone who questions the SPLC is an extremist. They are literally trying to bridge the gap between the internal financial nonsense of the Southern Poverty Law Center and J6. They want to tie a federal money laundering indictment directly to January 6th just to keep their woke, eyes wide shut sleeping base terrified. They think if they shout MAGA loud enough, nobody will look at the bank ledger. But I'm here to tell you right now, it ain't gonna work. Nope, not this time, y'all. But wait, it gets even more comical. Let's look at the actual sauce of this paperwork, where the second F, the fabrication, comes into play. They trying to call these people confidential informants. Informants? Come on, man. Check out this next piece of the puzzle.
We need less vendetta and more Voltaire. All of this is a disgrace. When DOJ was founded in 1870, 156 years ago, it was to protect the newly freed African Americans against the Ku Klux Klan, which was rampaging violence throughout the South. Todd Blanche has capsized DOJ's commitment to the rights of all and disgraced the department. He has directed DOJ to savage the SPLC while he does everything in his power with the president to aid and abet the right-wing extremists who commit acts of violence against racial minorities.
Pay close attention to what he just tried to pull right there. Raskin stands up there with a straight face, that locked smile energy, and says that criticizing the SPLC is a disgrace to the Department of Justice. He claims the DOJ's commitment to the rights of all being capsized. Let's translate that scheme talk into real street-level reality. See, when the feds put these operations together, they use undercover operatives inside these groups, what the paperwork officially calls a field source. That's just a fancy legal term for an operative on the payroll. And guess who they trying to hide? Field Source 9. Field Source 9 was literally running the racist National Alliance while sharing a joint bank account with an SPLC employee containing a $1.2 million of donor cash. Whoa! You heard me right, a joint bank account. That brings us straight to the third F, that massive funding. That ain't no informant, that's a business partner. That's a 1099 independent contractor for Nazis. They trying to protect Field Source 37, who was paid $300,000 to coordinate transportation for the deadly Charlottesville rally. If you pay the guy who plans the riot, you didn't infiltrate the group, you financed the block. That ain't undercover work, that's a payroll. But Raskin and the rest of the hi-hats gotta keep the hustle alive because they know if the SPLC main accounts get frozen, the whole plantation of manufactured outrage falls down. The poverty palace is built on these lies. Look here, I need to pause the tape right here and lay out the real blueprint of what we're looking at so far because I want to make sure nobody gets left behind on this one. This is too important to miss. When you peel back the slick talk, it really boils down to 3 raw facts. Check out the first reality check. Fact number 1, they underwrite the friction. They don't monitor hate, they finance the agitation so they can turn around and sell you the public a legal screen for protection. Then you gotta look at the next layout. Fact number 2, the investigators are the partners. These aren't undercover operatives risking it all for justice. These are independent contractors sharing million-dollar joint bank accounts with the exact people they claim to be chasing. And here is the real kicker to take home. Fact number 3, it's a psychological squeeze play. The politicians and the non-profit suits use our ancestral trauma as a moral mask. They want you looking at the history books so you stay blind to the wire transfers clearing right under your nose. Now let that cook in your kitchen for a minute while we look at the raw data signature behind this hustle. Look at how the money moves right after the trap is set. Immediately following that Charlottesville rally, the SPLC almost tripled its income from $51 million to $133 million. It is a rhythmic heist. They subsidize the wolf so they can sell you wolf hunting insurance all day long. And then the politicians use that fake fear to squeeze more compliance out of the public. It's a constitutional Jedi trick of the mind to rob you of your common sense. And y'all gotta watch the backpedaling when the fourth F, the pure falsehoods, gets exposed and the trap snaps shut. Boom! Just like that, the mask comes completely off.
No.
Do you think that somebody who has a Nazi tattoo on their chest should serve in the United States Senate?
I wouldn't vote for that person.
I certainly wouldn't either. Do you think that this should disqualify him politically from serving in the Senate?
Again, I'm not sure where the line of questions is going.
The
The SPLC, if you're asking me, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
If you're asking me if the SPLC opposes Nazis and Nazi symbols, the answer is yes.
Yep. The SPLC has referred to this same tattoo as a racist skinhead symbol and tattoo. You can see the resemblance there. You wouldn't want somebody with a tattoo like that in the Senate?
No.
No, I wouldn't either. I appreciate your candor there. Got a couple other questions. Shifting gears a little bit, your organization said that restricting and banning abortion is a tool of that the far right uses to maintain white supremacy. Do you believe that pro-lifers are white supremacists?
I believe that reproductive liberty is,
No, do you believe that pro-lifers are white supremacists?
I will tell you what I believe if
It's
you're
just
asking.
yes or no.
I can't answer that question, yes or no.
I don't think that pro-lifers are white supremacists. Do you?
What I think is that reproductive liberty is a right that every woman should enjoy.
How many babies in the United States that are aborted are black? About 40% of abortions nationwide are of black babies. Blacks represent about 13% of the population. Does that sound like something a white supremacist would oppose?
What I would say again is that SPLC supports reproductive liberty.
Calling somebody a white supremacist is a pretty serious charge, isn't it? I would think you would be able to defend that if your organization says that. You clearly seem unable to.
Mr. Gill, I'm not sure why you would think I'm able to do anything.
Because you're the president of the SPLC, which labels pro-lifers as racists.
Well,
Does your organization just hurl around epithets like that without any justification?
Mr. Gill, what we do is
I'm giving you the opportunity to
You're not
justify.
giving me the
Mr. Chairman,
opportunity.
what's he referring to, and can he let the witness answer the
belongs
question? This
to
is
time-
outrageous.
No, it's not. The
not.
time
Allow him to
belongs-
speak.
I know you
What
don't like
What
my
are you
question.
referring to?
Time
I know you don't
belongs-
like my question.
What are you referring to,
Time
Mr. Gill?
belongs to the gentleman from
My time
Texas.
here.
It's now expired, but he will be able to ask his last question, and we'll give the witness a chance to respond.
Here's the kicker, y'all. They start asking this SPLC representative, Mr. Fair, if pro-lifers are white supremacists, since his organization labels them that way in their little hate map. Ha ha! He starts stuttering. He starts talking about reproductive liberty, looking like his soul just left his body. He completely unable to defend the epithets they hurl around because he knows the check is about to bounce.
The receipts are on the table, and no amount of Raskin's fairy tales can clean up this laundry. They think because they was legit in the 70s, they can launder money in 2026. Not today. The nice era of clean enforcement is here, and we gonna audit every single shell company. They trapped by their own design. Now, for those of y'all asking what that NICE operation really means, let me break down the acronym for the room. It stands for National Integrity and Clean Enforcement. This ain't regular street-level pushback. This is a coordinated, high-level federal protocol designed to freeze assets and audit the dark money pipelines of nonprofits that act as front operations. When an organization gets hit with a NICE classification, every shell company, offshore account, and vendor payroll gets put under a forensic microscope. No more hiding behind donor privacy. I need 20 of my real detoxes to drop a comment right now saying, "I see the wolf." Let the algorithm know that we ain't being fooled by Raskin's dramatic speeches. We naming names and we pulling records. We see the joint bank accounts and we see the riot payrolls. The master architects are running out of stories to tell. Stay awake, my detoxes, and far as you can from woke. Stay alert and keep your eyes on the board. 21 dirty zones are being cleared, and the SPLC is the first one in the shredder. The Dems are panicking, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see.